Hello and welcome to the A Cuppa with Anna podcast, which is obviously a podcast where people come and have a cuppa with me. We talk about their lives, we talk about quite a lot to do with creativity and well-being, hopefully inspiring people out there to get creative and take care of their well-being. And today, my second ever guest on this podcast is Tony Cobley. And Tony is a photographer and generally a very creative, driven, determined, curious person. I think that's how I would describe you, Tony.
Oh, thank you very much.
Which is why I thought... Pardon?
No, creatively, actually, I've gone with a different type of cuppa. I've got water. Is that allowed?
You have to get off the podcast now because you're only allowed to have cups of tea on this podcast because it's called A Cuppa with Anna.
No, I've got pure vodka, a pint of pure vodka.
It's definitely not a pint of vodka with Anna.
No, just water. It's a hot day.
It's very healthy. So you're already inspiring people to drink more water.
Water's good for everything, isn't it? Any ailment you have, the doctor will always say, drink lots of water, and generally a good thing. We are made up mostly of water and we come from the water, so
I know.
It's good stuff.
I've been bad. I haven't been drinking very much water. I've got chai tea bags for the first time in ages, and I'm on like 3 cups of chai a day at the moment. Not good. So welcome, Tony. Welcome to the podcast. I haven't properly welcomed you. Thank you so much for coming on to chat to me. First of all, I'd like to ask you how you're finding this lockdown situation with the coronavirus and just kind of how you're adapting to it. Is it really unsettled you, or do you feel like you're taking it in your stride? What's the deal at your place?
I think everyone's found it unsettling, and everybody I've spoken to they seem to be having mood swings of ups and downs, and times when they're feeling really good and times when they're struggling. I'm generally quite good on my own. I'm not too much of a problem. I'd be if I was on desert island discs, I'd be saying, yeah, it'd be great. I'd be building a shelter and doing this and that. And I generally just need a purpose. So if I'm busy and I've got something to do and I've got some kind of purpose, I'm fine. But even then, you get to the end of the day sometimes and it's like, oh well, yeah, that's it then. Nobody to see. Can't see my girlfriend. We live in separate houses, separate towns, so we've been separated by this, and that's really hard. And just general social interaction. I've not touched another person for 2.5 weeks, and although we're doing all this technology stuff, which is great, it's not the same. But yeah, I think just the same as everyone, having kind of ups and downs. I don't think it affects me as badly as a lot of people, talking to some people. But yeah, I know I've had things in my past that have kind of helped me kind of do similar isolated periods, and I kind of know what works for me and how to deal with it.
Yeah. So what kind of things have you been through, Tony, that you feel has sort of made you more resilient for this?
Well, a couple of big back operations where I was kind of in recovery for months and in a lot of pain and not really able to do anything. And that was a kind of, you're going to go mad if you're just lying in bed all day, not doing anything. And even then, I tended to try and find like a purpose or a structure. So I'd first rule was never watch daytime TV.
So easy to do.
and just don't kind of drift. Have some purpose things in the day. So I know at the time when I was doing that, I was always learning something. I always had like a learning project. I was always doing something on my business, although it was shut at the time, because I was off. Like now, there's always some stuff you can work on it, and then you've got to have like the pleasure things as well. So it'd be like reading for pleasure, and then watching a movie at night. But yeah, you've just got to have those I'm going to make myself do some useful stuff to have a purpose, and then at the end of the day, when you chill out and watch a movie, it seems much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
So everybody's different, but for me, it's having a kind of structure and just some kind of purpose and aim, and at the end of the day, being able to look back and say, oh, I've achieved this, this, and this.
Tony, do I mean, I've always seen you as this very determined, driven man, and I almost envy just how self-motivated you are. Self-motivation is something I'm okay at. Like, I could be a lot better. I'm very good at, getting my structure and my plan together, and I'm like, yes, like off we go. And then into day 3, and I'm like, oh, like I'll just go and have a cup of tea and watch Netflix or something, and I really frustrate myself. Like, do you get days where you just get up and think, well, sod this? Do you have difficult days? Because from the outside, it doesn't always look like people do. You look like you're just kind of on it all the time.
No, I think we all do, don't we? We all do, and actually, that's kind of one of the things that when you're on your own all the time, you can have the advantage of that. I'm just going to feel really rubbish this morning and not do anything and have a strop on. I would actually find that worse if I was living with a bunch of people in close confines at the moment, because once you've had a strop on with them, it's there for the day. But if you've got a strop on your own, as soon as something happens to change your mood, which might be watching a podcast, might be listening to some music, might be anything, then you're out of it and there's nobody there to remind you about it, and you can just sort of reset.
I had a major strop a couple of days ago, but then the following day I was brilliant, and it's like you say, I think so many people are going through so many ups and downs, and it's really quite extreme. Tony, I'm sort of curious, for anyone who's listening out there, maybe they do struggle with structure, because I'm imagining there's a lot of people that have come from where they've had like a job and they've got the structure for them, and all of a sudden they're having to do that for themselves. And I can imagine, if you've not really experienced that, that's freaking hard.
I think
you talk a lot about purpose, having a purpose. So what would you say to them? What would you recommend?
Well, I suppose I'm quite lucky in this situation that I've always been in work where if I don't get up and do it, nobody's going to make me do it, and it just won't happen, and I won't have a business or a job. I've been in photography self-employed for 15 years, and if you've not got work on, you have to just get up and get out there finding work and doing your marketing and stuff. And if you've got work on, you've got to get up and do it, then you've got to edit it, and you've always got to be putting time in. And then 15 years ago, before that, I was in sales, and my boss was 300 miles away, and nobody was cracking the whip, but if the results didn't come in, I wouldn't have had a job. So I've always been in a situation, really, since I was about 22, 21, where if I don't do it, no one's going to stop me, but the results don't come in and it doesn't happen. So I've just got that built into me that you got to set goals and do it. So for me, my little trick is I just have a list. I like lists, and I've got a list in my diary today, and I'll gradually building up a list for tomorrow. Or if it's a weekend, I probably won't have a list. It'll just be kind of fun stuff. But on a kind of working day, I'll have a list, and if it's in the diary on the list when I get up, I'll do it, and I'll be on a real kind of got that done, tick it off. And if I do something that's not on the list, I would actually write it on the list so I can tick it off. And it's all those little achievements, and I don't know, that's just how I work. And a lot of people might think that's really kind of quite uncool thing to do, way to live, but just the way I like doing things, and it's in me because I've always had those jobs. But I understand people who have a job where they go to work, wait for somebody to tell them what to do, and then they do it. It's a completely different thing, and it must be very unsettling for them at the moment.
And I think, Tony, you talk about lists, and I think, I find if I'm having like a bad day, and I really think, I've got to create a realistic list today. If I write this huge list and then I can't do any of it, you feel like rubbish. But I think, I've had a couple of days where it's like, right, okay, I'm going to cook a nice bulk meal. I'm going to do some reading. I'm going to work a little bit on this project and do a bit of reading, and just set really achievable ones that can tick off. And even just if I've cooked a nice bulk meal and then I'm cross, I'm oh, and I've done something. I think it's even with the things that maybe just the everyday things.
No, I mean, taking it to an extreme, after my last back operation, which is about 5 years ago, the list was stuff like, okay, do your physio exercises, which were still lying in the bed, but just kind of raising a leg up or something. And
Yeah.
it was like doing that. And then it was kind of, okay, read something useful that you're going to learn something from, or make a phone call to one of your friends each day. And I actually had some hypnotherapy at the time, and I really like solution focused hypnotherapy because they do the trancy stuff, but before that they also take you through the science of how the brain works. And I'm the sort of person that likes to know how things work, so
Yes.
I really enjoy that. And they teach you that certain things produce serotonin, which is kind of, I think it's the feel good hormone type thing. And those things that produce that are things like social interaction and activity and learning and creativity, and it's all the things that kind of stimulate both parts of the brain and do our kind of basic human sort of interaction stuff. So I was basically trying to build those into the day, because I was really struggling at the time, and it was very low, and that having that kind of structure kind of saved me, really.
And like you say, it's the little things like, you know, ring one friend a day, or, you know, do a little bit of exercise, or it's those tiny little kind of quite ordinary things, really, isn't it, that I think we can forget to do. And suddenly when you're shoved in a corner, or, you know, you've laid up with a back operation, I guess you realise just how important they are. Even though they're important in everyday life, even when things are good, they're important, really.
Yeah, exactly. And I think at the moment there's some interesting psychology in the you're only allowed one form of exercise a day. If you tell somebody they can only have one thing a day, they'll normally take it every day. I know with me, if now I've got my one walk or bike ride a day, I am doing a bike ride or a walk every day, but I might not be otherwise. I might think, no, I won't bother today. But because it's the only one we're allowed, it's on my list every day, bike ride or walk.
Suddenly everyone's going to be much fitter and healthier, and talking to their family and friends more, and getting to know their neighbours. You know, it's like, gosh, like I got to know one of the neighbours here a bit the other day. I've never met her. It was just like, you know, it's kind of, sometimes it's a bit sad that it takes something like this for us to be like that, really, but you know, such is life. Tony, I'd like to know how you got into photography. You've got your lovely big sign in the background there. Tell me a little bit about what, you know, how you got, you know, you say that your, you know, your discipline comes a lot from your background and being self-employed in that. What was the decision to sort of go into doing photography as a business? How did that happen?
I'd always had it as a hobby since I was about 12 and really been into it. And I went into a career of engineering and then sales, technical sales. And I had a nice job where I was a rep, traveling, a sales manager, traveling around the country, and, you know, nice work, well paid, lots of benefits. But I liked it, and it was a good job. The boss was great, but it wasn't a passion, it wasn't a love. And I probably would have just kept doing that forever. But as mentioned earlier, I had a really big problem with my back, had to have a couple of operations, and it just wasn't feasible to be sitting in a car for very long. I have trouble sitting down for very long. So I was forced into changing, and I thought, well, you know, this is an opportunity to do something completely different, something that I should have done, and sort of took the quite radical step of quitting that job and just going back to uni for 3 years and doing a full-time photography degree course, and changing career, and started my business back then, and alongside that course.
And I suppose at the moment there's probably, you know, with a lot of, everyone's got so much time on our hands now, I think we're going to be reflecting, reconsidering our lives, and, you know, career changes and different things after this, maybe, who knows.
Absolutely, yeah. And you know, I that's one of the biggest things I've done in my life. I've done a sort of 3 or 4 sort of big decision things in my life, and that is one of the big ones. And I, you know, for 15 years now, I've been a photographer and I enjoy my work very much. I've got lots of nice clients. I'm self-employed. I don't know if I'd ever be able to work for somebody again. I sort of the whole being in control of everything. And
Yeah.
it's paid the bills every month for the best part of 15 years now.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I didn't do it when I was 16 or 18, to be honest. It's funny, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Sometimes you just get shoved in that corner, don't you? Tony, I've got a pot of random questions here, and I'm just going to pull a couple out, and I don't know what's going to come out the pot, and ask you them.
Are there any on 80s pop music?
What, did you want an 80s pop music quiz? Did you?
Yes, please.
Oh, next time.
The only thing I know anything about apart from photography.
All right, here we go. Right, so no, this good taste though. 80s was good. Okay, if you had to spend 24 hours in any place, where would it be?
24 hours. Okay. I think it'd probably be the Isles of Scilly, and I've got the T-shirt on. This wasn't planned. Tell me this question. This is totally random, as you say. I think two places come to mind. The best place I've ever been in my life was Alaska, and that
I really want to go there. I'm so jealous.
And that's more of a kind of spend a month traveling around and doing lots of adventure-y stuff. But if you've just got 24 hours just to be somewhere, I would pick the Isles of Scilly. It's my favourite place, and I've been there loads, and it's just one of those places where it's almost like going back in time. You just slow down, no cars, and it's a good place just to be, relaxed and at one and not thinking about stuff. It's quite a sort of mindful place to me, if you like. So probably on one of the off islands, one of the non-big islands that don't have many cars in the Isles of Scilly.
Alrighty. Okay. Ooh. Tell us something that really irritates you.
Oh no. Tailgating.
Oh really? Yeah.
Actually, when people drive too close up behind me, I just get really annoyed with that. And I've just kind of, if I'm driving along and there's a car in front of me, what's the point in getting close unless you're going to overtake it? Just like hang back, chill, listen to some music, don't get stressed. When somebody's up behind you, it just really, really annoys me. And
the silly thing is like, if they go into the back of you, it's going to be their fault.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I have a habit when people do that to me, of putting my brakes on and driving as slow as possible.
Yeah. Well, actually,
probably not helpful.
I was on a speed awareness course last year, and I was asking the man on the course, who was brilliant, about tailgating. And I said, just really annoyed and don't know what to do. I want to kind of hit the brakes. And he goes, yeah, I agree. That's probably not a good idea. That's probably less safe than tailgating. But he said, what a good idea is actually just to slow down gently. And actually, most people will realise that they've been a bit too close and back off. A lot of people aren't doing it intentionally. So I thought it was a really good answer. And actually, I thought the guys who run the speed awareness thing were awesome. They're very non-confrontational and, dealing with a bunch of people that didn't want to be there generally. They were awesome.
Yeah, we all need to be trained to be mindful drivers. Oh, okay. Tell us about a standout moment from yesterday.
I'm trying to think what I did yesterday. Oh, I know, donkeys. I went for a cycle ride, my daily cycle ride or walk, and I went to along by the edge of fields near Ivy Bridge, where I live, where the Ivy Bridge Donkey Sanctuary is. And I just stopped the bike for a second along the fence, and about 20 donkeys came up quite close. And they're lovely. And that's like the closest I've been to any living creature for 2.5 weeks. They're really cute, and they look so healthy. Coat's really good, and nice grass, lots of space. So they've been really well looked after there, and it's a nice thing to see. It lifted my spirits quite a lot yesterday.
Donkeys are cute.
They are, yeah.
And I think it's kind of having that, I think it's when you go out now, it's like you like doubly appreciate everything, don't you? I know
Yeah.
I went out for a walk yesterday, and I'd been in a foul mood the day before, and I went out and I was really annoyed, and I was like looking up at the sky and I was going, well, you know, if there's something to be positive about, like show me, just show me. I was like stropping along. And then literally it's like my whole mindset changed, and this guy rode past on a bike, and on the back of his t-shirt it said never give up, and I sort of went, oh. And then I saw two magpies, two robins, and then quite an attractive man smiled at me, and I was like, cool, it's a good day again. You know, it's these simple little things.
Yeah.
And then my mood turned around for the day, you know. It's good. Right, let's do one more of these random questions, and then we're going to get some
No, wait, she's pop music, yeah.
Some little takeaways from you. Oh, you know this question. You know this one.
Really?
Which celebrity would you like to be stuck in a jacuzzi with?
Why do I don't know this question?
You wrote this question. You helped me with a box of questions about like 4 years ago. And you wrote this one.
Which celebrity would I like to be stuck in a jacuzzi with? Well, it depends which way you're looking at it. Am I looking at it as the kind of obvious kind of, yeah, I'd like to be stuck in a jacuzzi with her type thing, or is it a kind of somebody I might want to have a conversation with?
Yeah, is it like someone hot or so? Up to you. I think we should go for an interesting person you'd like to talk to.
Okay,
we'll go with that one.
Go with the obvious, yeah, kind of whatever to everyone. Okay, I reckon David Attenborough. I'd be stuck in a jacuzzi with David Attenborough with a big cold beer, having a conversation about natural history. And he's one of those people who, if you could meet him, it would just be immense, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
and,
it would. You're the third person that's actually said they'd like to be stuck in a jacuzzi with David Attenborough.
Ooh,
yeah, that question's come out quite a lot,
way.
and he's a very popular one. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I know. All right. So, a few bits just to finish off. So obviously a lot of us are stuck at home and we'd like some things to do. So can you recommend a book? Do you have a standout book that you've read, and what reasoning? Maybe we can get some other people reading it.
Yeah, the book that if I went on Desert Island Discs and they say, what book would you have? The one that I always would pick is Captain Corelli's Mandolin, and there's a movie as well. You might have seen that. Don't know if you read the book.
No.
Or seen the movie.
No.
I'll get the movie. That's the thing to do, maybe first. But it's a lovely story. It's set in the Second World War in Italy or Greece. No, Greece, isn't it? Kefalonia. Not read it for ages. I'll have to read it again. But yeah, the reason I would pick it is that it's got every piece of humanity in it. It's got all the bad stuff and all the good stuff. So you know, there's relationships, and there's kind of evil, and there's kind of prejudice, and there's love, and there's it's a sort of book that kind of reminds you about everything that there is in life, and it's got some kind of funny moments, and it's one of those books you really transports you to a place. So that's my Desert Island book.
Okay, and movie?
Apollo 13. Love that movie. It's just the story of one of the very greatest kind of achievements ever, and the achievement was purely survival, and the problems they had to solve, and the kind of thinking they had to do was incredible. And so it's actually the 50th anniversary of Apollo 13 next week. This is a really great podcast I was listening to while I was decorating yesterday on BBC World Service. It's called 13 Minutes to the Moon. The first podcast was about the Apollo 11 moon landings, and this second series is about Apollo 13. But yeah, it's if you've seen the movie, the Tom Hanks movie, that's very, very true to the real story. And you know, he's a big Apollo geek like me, and he directed the movie and knew all the stuff. So I think it's just, I've watched that movie so many times. One of those movies I watch when I'm struggling and got things that I'm struggling to deal with, and it's kind of, this is how you deal with anything, just work a problem.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I should watch it, because I've heard of it so many times. I just haven't seen it. Okay, and a song that you love to dance to.
Killers, Mr. Brightside. That's just awesome. It always just fires me up. It was out when I was at college doing my photography degree, so it kind of reminds me of that time.
Yeah.
It appeared at a wedding, a friend's wedding, that were a band played it. It started off really slow and then kicked into really fast, and that was amazing performance. It reminds me of a really good evening.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those kind of feel good, very sort of lively sort of songs. So, yeah.
I think as well, I don't know about you, I mean, I'm having kind of mad dances around the house each day. At 5 o'clock the music goes on and I just dance or get my hula hoop out. And so what I'm hoping to do with each guest that comes on the podcast is then get their song and then make a playlist. So just encourage more people to dance. Yeah, I'm going to come out the other side a really good dancer, I reckon.
You need to do a hula hooping podcast.
Well, I did do a little. I put a video up of me hula hooping. And so, can you do a how to hula hoop? Because so many people can't hula hoop. And I couldn't hula hoop for my entire life. And someone taught me in literally 20 seconds. It's that easy. It's very bizarre.
Is it easy for women because they've got different type of hips?
No, it's all in the movement. It's all in the movement. Female or male, it just all in the movement. It's much simpler than what you think. So yeah, maybe a how-to coming soon. Slightly reluctant to do that, really. So lastly, I would like you to set the listeners a challenge. So what is your challenge for the listeners?
My challenge, and I did know about this question, and like all the others, even though I was a silly one, I didn't prepare this. But photo challenge. When I'm tutoring photography, I often do this one as a challenge anyway. But at the moment, it's very, very useful in terms of ways to see the world when we're not seeing everything and going on our little trips out. So normally when you go out and taking photos, you probably go to the beach or the moors or something, and you see these big wide vistas and great wide landscape photos. We can't do that at the moment. We might be just limited to our back garden or our window box even, or maybe we're just stuck inside a house. So my challenge is go really close up with a photo. Go close, look for a photo of something really, really detailed, really, really close, and you'll be surprised what you can find even in your house or even in your garden. And very, very good to do at the moment, but also it's a great way to improve your photography. One of the things people, when they're new to photography, struggle with is that they get too much in. They try and show everything, and photos are usually stronger the more simple they are. It's a kind of less is more situation. So going close and exploring detail is a really good thing to do anyway, and it's an opportunity to do that now because we can't go everywhere looking at wide views. So your challenge is to get a creative photo of something really close up and have a look around wherever you want to find that thing to photograph.
Okay, and perhaps if anyone takes these pictures, they could tag you on Instagram so you can see, because I think they can write under Instagram, under the photo, they could put @Tony Cobley Photography. So
Tony Cobley Photography on Instagram.
Is it Tony Cobley Photography? Is that what you are on Insta? Yep. Yeah, there you go then. Brilliant. I'll put those. I'll put them in the captions.
Tony Cobley Photography on any social media and you'll find me.
Yes. I love how you're so prepared with your banner. I need a cuppa with Anna banner in the background as well. I'm my own banner. I'm my own banner. There was one question I did ask you before, and I just want to get it in before we go because we need to wrap up. What was the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Be true to yourself and follow your gut. And you know, I can't remember who said it. It might have been multiple people who said it,
Yeah.
but it was yeah, very good advice. I think it's a bad idea to do what people tell you to do. You know, I moved down to Devon on my own when I was 22 because I wanted to. It was a bad career move, but I wanted to do it, and it turned out to be the best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
A couple of years later, I went away traveling when people told me I should be buying a house, getting a mortgage. That worked out to be one of the best things I did.
Yeah.
And then I changed career to an industry that's really hard to make a living, and made a living out of it. When people told me that was a bad move, but
yeah.
I called it. I wanted to do it, and I
Yeah.
did it. And if I hadn't done any of those things, I'd be regretting them now. So you've got to do things that are true to you and what you think are right.
And I think that's so relevant at the time, with everyone having this sort of, well, a lot of people, not everybody, but if people have got extra time on their hands, it is, I think you can hear that gut instinct a bit more. It's so easy to get caught up in your head and overthink things, but actually it's listening to like a whole other part of you, isn't it? And kind of strengthening that. That's a really good way to finish. Thank you so much for joining me, Tony.
Thank you.
It's been lovely to chat. I think we could just keep chatting, couldn't we? It always goes so quickly.
Flown by, yeah. I mean, you've been here for 2 minutes, it seems.
What are you off to do now then? Because it sounds like you're doing a bit of decorating.
I've done my decorating for the day this morning, and I'm actually doing a 12 o'clock. I've got a bit of a virtual business meeting. So we're going to do that. It'll be about an hour, and then I'm going to go out on my daily bike ride or walk. Might go on the bike again to see the donkeys.
Yeah, I was going to say hello to the donkey for me.
I'll take a picture with me. I'll take a picture and send you.
Do, yes, I want to see the donkey. Oh, enjoy. Thank you so much, Tony.
Thanks, Anna. Great to speak with you.
You too.